Welcome back to the channel, guys. Glad to have you as always. And today I'm taking you along for the ride on a super sick mail call that we got in here. Don't know if you can read that. That says Big Al's Decoys. And we're going to show you just how easy it is to get your own spread set up and get out there crushing those local goose populations in your area. So guys, stay with us. We've got a great video coming for you right now. All right, guys, welcome back. As you can see, like we talked about in the preview of the video, we are going to be going over the unboxing of this awesome new spread we got from the guys over at Big Al's Decoys. Again, just a huge shout out to those guys for hooking the channel up, getting us some fresh decoys in this spread that we take all over the place. And I can't wait to unbox this for you guys. But as we're here in the shop, we might as well go ahead and show you guys what else came on the same exact day this giant box came in the mail. The guys over at Kent Cartridge never disappoint. So here we go. We got our fresh cases of steel for the year. As you can see, that's my preferred shot size, that 1 1/8. Number 3s in the 3-inch on the fast steel. So again, just shout out to Hunter and his team over at Kent Cartridge. You can see behind us here, always repping. Love you guys. Love spanking ducks and geese with those shells. We're going to keep it going. All right, boys, before we get started, let's get this thing kicked off right here with some bush apple. That's what I'm talking about. But again, you can see here just an awesome mail day we got. Shout out to the guys at Kent, and a huge shout out to the man himself behind this awesome brand, Al from Big Al's Decoys. We had a great conversation over on social media, and he was nice enough to send out a fresh set of looking silhouettes that we're going to do a direct comparison to our current setup and spread over there, which is about 13 to 14 dozen dive bomb V2s, V2Fs, the V3 alternates. We've been rocking those for several seasons now and had some great success. So we're going to be showing you maybe some reasons why you want to check out Big Al's Decoys if you're looking for that silhouette, that running skinnies. You know, that was made famous by the dive bomb guys. But what people don't realize is the silhouette game has been around for a lot longer than you think. So let's go ahead and get this box open. Let's compare these decoys and see why you maybe want to take a closer look at the guys over at Big Al's. All right, guys, so we are going to be going through this unboxing together. And let's deep dive into this package to see what exactly we're working with here. So, very nice packaging now. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you this is a very nice, look at that. So looks like we've got one of their exclusive. Now, right out of the box, I really like this. I know exactly what this is. This is their bag, their decoy bag. I'm going to go ahead and do the first comparison here for you. So this decoy bag that you probably can't tell online, but this is a very heavy, nice canvas style decoy bag with their logo right here. Now, one of the advantages, oh, and also drain holes. So we got drain holes here in the bottom. So obviously, guys, we don't, you know, you're not some fair weather hunters. You may be in the elements, whether that's snow or early season, September here in the south. It's very wet sometimes, so the drain holes are super nice. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, just first glances here, I do like this decoy bag, and I'm going to tell you why, directly comparing that to the dive bomb we have on the floor. So as you'll see, the dive bomb is a little bit thicker. It's got this shiny, you know, somewhat waterproof material, no drain holes, but the advantage of this thing is it's thicker, it stands up on its own. So putting in decoys in there is going to be a little bit easier, I guess you could say, than the Big Al's. But ultimately, when you get done and this thing's empty, it does fold on itself, but it's a pretty thick material. So this thing is going to be awesome. I mean, you could even throw this into your actual layout instead of having to worry about who's going to hide the bag, you know, maybe under their layout before the hunt. All right, next up we have what he is calling the X14 Greater Pack. And he's got some great instructions there on how to show you exactly where to place these stakes. Looks like they're going to be the corrugated style, kind of like what we're used to on the DBs. But I'm telling you right now, I really like how flat looking these geese are. And I'm not talking about their shape. I'm talking about the color and the shine. I really like how this is a super, super matte looking goose, which you can tell, I mean, geese are not shiny creatures. So obviously, if you're out in the field and this thing's hitting the first light there, it's not going to be, shiny to them, which could scare them away or flare them. So I really like that. That looks like a very content feeder goose. We're going to get this thing, compare that to the dive bombs. What do we have here? Looks like a sentry. Looks like we have a standing sentry there. Again, really nice detail. I mean, that looks freaking crazy, boys. I don't know, but I mean, look at that. See, we got a feather out of place there. So the photography or the digitalization that they're using on these things is crazy realistic. Let's go ahead and get that zoom back in there. Man, I like that. That's going to come in handy. All right, guys, so as we dive deeper into the box, I found a little surprise here from my buddy Al at Big Al's Decoys. Man, seriously, you blown it away. I love this hat. I promise you this is going to get used a ton. So huge shout out to Al, man. Appreciate the hat, buddy. All right, so moving on to the poses. So as I was going through the boxes, I've got all the geese laid out there in the shop. We're going to have a steak party here in a little bit with these awesome, looks like they use the same or similar spring stake system that the DBs use. But again, we're going to have a party here in a minute assembling those, which is always fun. Seriously, turn on a hunting video, get your Wi-Fi here, assemble some decoys, drink some beer. It's a great time. But we're looking at the 7 poses. So going through them really quickly, you've got a upright, looks like a walker, somewhat of a sentry type deal. So we've got him. We've got another feeding goose that's walking towards you. Just love the detail on these things, how they're reversible. Looks like next up you've got a sentry, just a full-blown standing lookout sentry there. I think we saw him earlier. You've got the frontal pose. And as you're noticing here, the theme of the Big Owls is variety. You don't just get one pose 10 dozen times. You've got all these different angles that these geese are going to be looking at. If they circle you, if they come in from a direction that you're not expecting. You've got a neck half stretched out feeder. And then versus that, you've got the fully stretched out feeder version there. So just 7 total poses in these things, guys. 7 different poses versus some other decoy packs. And another thing that I was noticing is you get 14 per package in the Big Owls versus just a dozen on the other big brands. So that's definitely an advantage versus just getting a dozen decoys. All right, guys, so one thing that I'm noticing as I'm putting these spring stakes into the Big Owls, and by the way, these go in like freaking butter. They're not super hard. They got great instructions. Like you see here, they tell you to count 5 cells in between each stake. So as you're going in, you want to make sure they're 5 corrugated spaces apart. And what I mean by that is when you get these decoys, you will see how they do have the corrugated spaces where you slide these stakes in. But one thing I did notice, and I didn't think it was, I had no idea until I had this in my hand, but this is a dive bomb spec. So the original non-flocked speckle belly decoy. So I'm laying that on top of this Big Owls. You will see here that the spring stake on the dive bomb is a little bit wider. Really don't know if that's an advantage or disadvantage. In my mind, this Big Owl stake, since it is a little bit skinnier going into the decoy, maybe it'll concentrate the surface or the pressure that you have exerting into the ground. These may go in a little bit easier because once you spread these 2 contact parts out, it may make it harder to go in some frozen ground or not, the most perfect ground you're trying to put these decoys in. I may be just totally full of BS, but I don't know. There may be an advantage to these being a little bit skinnier than the original dive bomb stakes. Just something that I noticed. I'm going to go ahead and put these stakes in these decoys. We're going to get a tabletop going. And I'm going to finally get you guys on camera and see exactly what the differences are between the Big Owls, decoys, silhouettes versus the DBs. So stay tuned.
I sure hope we don't end up like them. Faded hearts and fights that never end. All lies and broken promises, I'll never do that again. I sure hope.
We're back, guys. As you can see, we got the fresh lid on. I love this freaking hat. It gets me in the mood to go scout some geese. So without further ado, let's go ahead and break down exactly what we're showing you guys on the dive bomb versus the big owls. Now, preference to the video, I'm not telling you one is better over the other. They both have pros and cons. Some guys might like the minimalist style bag versus the dive bomb bag that's a little heavier and a little bit more stands up on his own type thing. That's a detail that you're gonna have to figure out for yourself. But as far as the decoys go, I'm just gonna give you my 2 cents on what I've learned. I've used dive bombs for years now, and there's things that I'm seeing about the big owls that I like a little better. So with all that said, looking at the big owls, I'm gonna go and get the camera here so you guys can focus on what you're seeing here. So this is the most realistic, in my opinion, looking photocopy of a live goose. Now, the pose you're gonna see is the depth and the shadow of the feathers and the body position. Body position to me is probably, and also having variety, that is the biggest deal to me as far as putting out a realistic goose spread. Like here in the Southeast, we may not have but maybe 30 to 40 geese we're targeting for the next morning's hunt. So you don't wanna go out there and throw 85 geese at this one hayfield. When you've got the first group come in, they're gonna be like, what the heck is going on here? Again, so be as realistic and copy what you're seeing in a feed or a loaf or whatever the situation may be that you're gonna target these birds at. So again, the variety to me in the big owls plays a big part in, versus my dive bomb spread. So I know that dive bomb came out with, last year, I believe it was, the alternate poses. So as you can see here, this is a V2F from Dive Bomb, a great decoy, killed a pile of geese over these things. This is the V2F, so really not a fair comparison as far as the flocked head decoy versus big owls. I'm sure big owls could do that. Obviously, the contrast is huge when you're looking at flocked versus not flocked. But again, this is just the body posture and the feather detail that I'm trying to show you. So you can see here on screen, the body posture and the detail, no matter how I move this decoy, it looks like it's moving and it looks like it's 4-dimensional versus just being a 2D decoy. This is a 3D, 4D live bird versus something that, it looks good. I'm not gonna tell you they don't look good. The dive bombs look good, but if I'm head-to-head comparison, I'm choosing the big owls. Reason I'm saying that is if I'm not so much concerned on contrast and I don't need the flocked head, I really like these body postures because this is a live goose, man. This is a photocopied live goose. Also, another big thing is that you will see here is, I don't know if you can read that, but that says made in the USA. That's something that a lot of people don't care about or look for these days. I like that. I like that you're buying this from a USA made company versus, dive bomb's based in Missouri, but I'm not really sure the source of the decoys. I'm not trying to throw them under the bus. I love my dive bomb spread. Killed a bunch of geese over it. But these are made in America. That may matter to you, it may not. Just a fact thrown out there. So again, looking at the feather detail, this is the walking sentry versus, I don't have an alternate of the dive bomb, but again, very similar feather detail. Again, this is more of the goose's back versus the front. We'll see if I can get you a direct comparison here. So there's more of a direct comparison versus kind of what dive bomb is going for here versus a more realistic goose. So as you can see, not perfectly white on the white contrast, just like a normal goose isn't going to be stark white like that. You've got more feather detail going up the belly, the feather line, and the head posture. Again, being very nitpicky here. Will both of these kill you geese? Yeah, they absolutely will. It's your money. It's your spread at the end of the day. Make sure you're hunting and using the equipment that you want to go purchase. Don't listen to me. Go try it out for yourself. Like I said, I have used these dive bombs for years. But yet again, having the ability, a tool in the tool belt to throw some more postures, some different looking spreads out to these birds. Having the ability to throw that out there on some late season geese might be the trick to pull them into shotgun range. That's the ultimate goal here, guys, is Have confidence in what you use. Be more familiar with scouting. Brush your blinds better. Get permission on the X. All that stuff will kill you more geese, more than the most expensive decoys you can buy. Ask any goose hunter that. You've got to be where they want to be. You have to make sure you are invisible as far as what you're hunting in A-frames, layouts, on the ground with burlap, with Johnson grass tied to you, whatever you're doing. Make sure you got the fundamentals down pat before you go spending more money on a bigger, nicer spread. Again, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. That's just my 2 cents on some silhouette decoys. Again, a huge shout out to Big Al's. If you want to see some footage of these guys just absolutely pounding geese over these things, go check out Grinder Heinz. You got Smack 'em Outdoors. They got some great videos. They're both on IG. But, and again, hopefully you'll see us smack some geese with these things coming up. But guys, again, thanks for watching the video. Comment, like, share, subscribe. As always, go check out Big Al's Decoys. I'm going to have it right here for you. BigAlsDecoys.com. Go check out the lineup. And again, guys, we'll see you on the next one.